Welcome to Basic Brewing Video. I'm James Spencer.
I'm Steve Wilkes.
Welcome back to the kitchen.
No kidding.
It's been a while since we've been here.
It seems like it was a full moon ago, or something like that.
We got some great stuff in Seattle during the National Homebrewers Conference. We got one more video to show you from that. But before we do, we just decided to get back together and get back to some food and some homebrew.
And some homebrew.
And this is around my house at least, this is the summer of the session beers. When we talk about session beers, we talk about beers that are really enjoyable to drink but have low alcohol. So you could drink a bunch of them in a session and still be able to have a non-confrontational conversation.
Yeah. So, well, more about that later.
Unless you're on Facebook, then you're at least in person. You can have a non-confrontational conversation.
Well, you got a low gravity session beer just by happenstance.
I just happen to have one right here.
So let's see what you got and tell me about it.
Well, this is a little foamy.
Yeah, did you get this from Gillette?
Yeah, you can shave with it. I just brought it from upstairs, so I guess I agitated it.
I'm all shook up.
I'm all shook up. It's an Elvis beer. This is a beer that has nothing but, as far as the grain bill goes, nothing but 3 pounds of malted wheat and 1 pound of malted rye. Now, my inspiration for this, remember the 100% rye beer that we did, and it was, oh my gosh, it was thick.
Who could forget it?
It was so thick. And I thought, you know what? You could make a low gravity beer and just put a bunch of rye in there and have the body and the mouthfeel be substantial and be satisfying. So let's walk you through it. So like I said, 3 pounds of malted wheat, 1 pound of malted rye. And what I did was I added 8 quarts of 163 degree Fahrenheit water to get up to 153 degrees Fahrenheit mash temperature. And this is brew in the bag. And you know, that's not a lot of volume. So I was kind of worried about the mash losing temperature over time. So what I did was I got my electric smoker that I smoke chicken and pork in.
Yep.
I warmed it up to the mash temperature and stuck the pot in there, and it stayed rock solid the whole hour.
It's my hero.
So after the whole hour of mashing, I asparged with 4.5 gallons of 170 degree Fahrenheit water. And I'm going to put the metric equivalents on the screen, so don't worry.
I'm not worried.
So I sparged it, and I wound up with 6 gallons pre-boil at 1.012 starting or gravity. At that point, I brought it up to a boil. I added half an ounce of Tettnang for 60 minutes, and that's all the hops that are in the boil. And then the original gravity, I wound up with 4.5 gallons after the boil at 1.020, and that finished out after adding SAF Brew 1058. It fermented out at 1.004. So that gives us an alcohol by volume of 2.1%, 81 calories. Now, that's not the end of the story. I noticed that when I kegged this, that because I had not used a bunch of hops, this was kind of a bland beer. It's kind of a blank canvas, as you would. So what I did is I dry hopped in the keg with 34 grams of a hop called Mosaic, which is a brand new hop. It used to be called 369 when it was an experimental hop. But Carl Van Evenhoven of Yakima Chief gave us some of this wonderful new hop when we interviewed him up in Seattle.
Yep.
And so I put 34 grams of it into the keg. What do you think, Steve?
It is absolutely delicious. I'm not just saying that because you're my friend and live next door. This is a hell of a good beer, pardon my French.
Thank you.
It's really nice. It's got nice mouthfeel, nice body. Obviously at 2.1%, you can barely tell it's alcoholic, but you can. This is what all those guys marketing ultra low calorie beers ought to be making. And what I'm encouraged by, and I thank you and our friends from Seattle that we met in Seattle for sharing with us, was that you can make a really nice beer at about 2% alcohol that you can enjoy. Like a lot of us, I'm trying to cut back on how many calories I'm taking in. You know, a lot of the beers I brew are, it's 200 calories, 250 calories in a glass. So to brew this beer, it's completely satisfying. I mean, it's really a nice beer. I can't say enough.
And at 81 calories per pint.
Yeah, per
Pretty
pint.
good. Now the mosaic character really comes through.
I was going to say there's lovely grapefruit hops character in it. There's a little bit of lemon character in it. There's no banana. I'm not getting any clove or banana, but
It's a little piney.
It's a little piney. It's just a really nice beer. So good job, good recipe. I hope that you all will download this recipe and brew it because it's well worth brewing. I sincerely mean that.
Well, thank
so give it a shot.
So what do we got to eat to go along with our light, tasty session beer?
Okay, so I was thinking when you described the beer to me, I was thinking about picking up the spiciness of the rye and kind of the piney spiciness of the mosaic. I didn't have any idea what the beer was really going to taste like, except that I knew it would be a very light beer and it would be a really summery beer. So I was thinking of Corona and Pacifico and the beach and all that, which led me down the road. And I've just been back from New Mexico, so what we're going to have are tacos al pastor. So the red sauce, the first thing I did was to toast the dried peppers to kind of bring out the essential oils. Then we hydrated the peppers in some water so that they kind of plumped back up. At the same time, I sauteed some garlic and some onion. Once the chilies were properly hydrated, I added those chilies back into the saute pan, let them do their thing. I added about a teaspoon of salt, about a teaspoon of Mexican dried oregano, and about a teaspoon of powdered cumin. Then I added about a half a cup of the chili water, so the tea kind of, you might say. Let that just kind of cook down and all cook together. All that mess went into a blender. I also added a cup of vegetable stock, kept it going in the blender. Then we forced that through a fine sieve, and that created the red sauce. You could leave it chunky if you wanted to. I just like the presentation better, and it's just a little nicer way of doing it. The green sauce is almost the same thing, except you're working from fresh chilies, and these are fresh New Mexico chilies or Anaheim chilies. What you do is you blister the chilies until the skin will peel off. Then you peel them. At the same time, I was sauteing some onion and garlic. I added that same spice mix of oregano, cumin, and salt. I added the charred, roasted chilies into the saute pan. Let them saute along with a little vegetable stock for a few minutes until they sauteed and then they cooked down, in the saute sauce. I put them through the blender. I strained it. That's the green chili sauce. It's actually quite easy to make. If you want it to be a little thicker, like I didn't thicken this, but you can easily thicken it with a little cornstarch, be just fine. Or you could even make a roux and do it that way, and you could have a thicker sauce, but it's not nearly necessary. For the meat, instead of working with, like I say, a pork shoulder or something like that I might do if I had a lot more time, we just used some ground pork. We just sauteed it with some onion and garlic. Added again a little bit of our spice mixture, the juice from half of a lime, and half a cup of the red chili sauce. And then let that just saute and saute and saute until it was all nice and done and all those flavors came together.
So here we are. We got our little assembly line here.
Yeah. So let's make a taco.
Are you gonna serve since you can reach everything?
I can do that. So I'm going to make a taco. I'm going to do two tortillas because it's traditional, and then we'll do a little of our sautéed pork. And you could make this with lamb or beef or chicken or kind of anything you want. And then would you like a little of both? Now in New Mexico we call that Christmas.
Okay.
So you want to have it Christmas
in August.
That's right. So we'll just do a teaspoon of the red sauce on that side, and we'll do a teaspoon of the green sauce on that side. Just for the heck of it.
A little bit of the onion.
We'll do a little onion.
Cilantro.
We'll do a little cilantro. Maybe a little more cilantro. We'll squeeze
We might have to do a transition here.
We'll do a little lime. There's your taco.
And then instantly you will have yours. And boom, you have your taco.
Yep. So here we go. We've got our tacos. And this
is going to be a little messy.
I was a little generous with the filling. That's okay. So here we go.
That's good.
That's good.
Very authentic tasting. Mm-hmm. There are little taquerias around here. This is good. This is every bit as good as theirs. And you know, the sauce would intimidate me. Mm-hmm. If I had not watched you make it, I would have thought, there's no way I could do that. It's easy.
It's easy.
You need to do it. Please.
They are a little messy.
Pardon us while we work.
Wow. I think, and
So
what do you
good.
think
Oh.
about the pairing with the beer?
Oh, that's happy.
Yep, that just cleanses the
That's happy.
palate.
And you know, we're having this for lunch. You
Yeah.
could have this for lunch
Absolutely.
and be just fine the rest of the day.
Yeah. Might need a nap.
Just from the food. But it won't be because of the beer.
Actually, it's not really that heavy. One or two of these, and you're not going to just
Yeah.
feel like you've had Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
Um,
This is delicious. The only reason
Thanks.
I'm not just tearing into that is because I don't want to look messy.
yeah, me too. That's why I put it down. I had to put it down so that I wouldn't keep eating it.
Put down the taco.
Yeah. Walk away slowly. Listen, give these a try. Give these recipes a try. We'll post it all online for you on the iPhone app and Android app.
Yeah, and in the description of this episode on basicbrewingvideo.com. And we will have more session beers to come.
Yep. I'm all about the session beer. I'm all about it. So
Stay tuned.
happy brewing.
Happy brewing.
Come and visit us on the web at basicbrewing.com. You can find archived lists of both our audio and video podcasts on home brewing. You can also find our DVDs, Extract Brewing and Partial Mashing, Stepping into All Grain, Low-Tech Lagering and Decoction Mashing, Introduction to Wine Kits, and for a limited time, our 2012 Brewer's Logbook. Drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. Write to James at basicbrewing.com, Steve at basicbrewing.com, or just use the contact form on basicbrewing.com.